Lady, back off or you're dead too. That's what the man with the gun said, 3 seconds before Maya Brooks took him down. Now let me ask you something. Have you ever saved someone's life without knowing if they deserved it? Without knowing if that one act of mercy would turn your entire world upside down? Because that's exactly what happened on a rainy highway at 3 in the morning. And it changed everything. The rain sounds different when you're driving alone in the dark. Persistent, like it knows something you don't. Maya keeps her eyes on the road, one hand loose on the wheel, the other resting near the glove compartment. Old habit, the kind you don't shake even when the war's an ocean away. The radio crackles with news about troop movements, casualties, extraction missions gone wrong. Kandahar, the marketplace, dust and blood and Corporal Jenkins dying in my arms because I hesitated 3 seconds too long. Maya's hands tighten on the wheel. She forces the memory down, turns off the radio. Just drive. Get back to base. Don't think about it. She rounds a curve, and there it is. 2 cars blocking both lanes. Headlights cutting through rain like prison searchlights. Men with weapons surrounding a black sedan. Maya's foot eases off the gas. Professional hit. Not a robbery. She can see the target slumped in the driver's seat. Dark hair, blood on his collar. Still breathing, barely. Pop, pop, gunfire. Her pulse doesn't spike. It levels. That's the thing about combat training. Your body remembers what to do before your brain catches up. She kills her headlights, rolls down the window, listens. A man barking orders. The universal language of violence. Finish it, now. Maya sees the victim's chest rise, fall, rise again. He's going to die if you don't move. She doesn't think about who he is. She thinks about Jenkins. About the medic who told her, "You don't get to choose who lives, Brooks. You just get to choose whether you tried." Maya shifts into neutral, steps out into the rain. The closest attacker has his back to her. Execution stance. She moves fast, silent, military close quarters combat, arm around his throat. He drops without a sound. The second man spins. She's already there. Elbow to the ribs, leg sweep, down. The third, older, scar running down his cheek, raises his weapon. Lady, back off or you're dead too. She doesn't answer. Just throws a rock from the shoulder, hard, catches him in the temple. He staggers, curses. That's all the time she needs. Maya wrenches open the sedan door. Drags the wounded man out, half carries him to her back seat. Blood soaks into her jacket, tires screaming. She fishtails back onto the highway. In the rearview mirror, the scarred man points at her car. His mouth forms words she can read. That woman, we'll deal with her later. The wounded man groans softly in the back seat. Stay with me, Maya orders, firm, calm. You're not dying tonight. His eyes flutter open, dark, intelligent, searching her face, then close again. The rain keeps falling, and somewhere behind her, 3 men are making a phone call that will haunt her for weeks. The motel sign flickers like a dying heartbeat. Half the letters burned out years ago and never replaced. MTL VCNCY. Good enough. Maya's not looking for luxury, just somewhere off the highway. Somewhere without security cameras. Somewhere she can patch this man up and be gone by morning. She pulls into the farthest spot from the office, backs in so she's facing the exit, old habit. Something her combat instructor drilled into her head over and over. Always know where the door is. Always have an escape route. Always assume you might need to leave fast. The parking lot is nearly empty. Just 2 other cars and a semi-truck parked at the far end. Good. Fewer witnesses, fewer questions. She hauls the man out of the back seat. He's more conscious now, which is both good and bad. Good because it means he's not slipping into shock. Bad because he's heavy as hell and only semi-cooperative as she half drags him toward the room. "I can walk," he mumbles. "No, you can't." "I can." His knees buckle. She catches him. "Yeah, that's what I thought. Just let me help you." He doesn't argue after that. The room smells like decades of cigarette smoke, barely masked by industrial cleaner and cheap air freshener. One bed with a comforter that's seen better days. One chair with a torn seat cushion. A television that probably hasn't worked right since the 90s. Brown carpet stained with things she doesn't want to think about. Perfect, anonymous, forgettable. "Sit," she orders, pointing to the chair. He obeys slowly. Like every movement costs him something. Like he's calculating whether he has the strength to do what she's asking. Maya grabs her field kit from the trunk of her car. Military issue. She never travels without it. Never. You never know when you'll need to patch someone up. That's what they taught her. Be prepared for anything. Always. She unzips it on the bed. Contents spill out in organized chaos. Bandages, antiseptic, surgical tape, trauma shears, quick clot gauze, sterile gloves, saline solution. She's used these supplies 100 times. In tents, in bunkers, in the back of moving vehicles, in conditions far worse than this cheap motel room. "Take off your jacket," she says without looking at him. He does, slowly, wincing with every movement. The shirt underneath is soaked through, rain and blood mixed until you can't tell where one ends and the other begins. She cuts the shirt away with trauma shears, doesn't apologize for the cold blade against his skin. No time for niceties. The wound needs air. She needs to see what she's working with. It's a graze, deep enough to bleed profusely, shallow enough that he'll survive if she does this right. "You're lucky," she says, snapping on sterile gloves. Her voice is clinical, detached, the way it always gets when she's working on someone. Emotions get in the way of good medicine. Another inch to the left and that bullet would have hit your subclavian artery. You'd have bled out before I got you off that highway. She swabs the wound with antiseptic. He doesn't flinch, doesn't make a sound, just watches her work with unsettling focus. Most people can't watch their own blood, can't look at their own injuries. They turn away, close their eyes, dissociate. But this man watches everything she does, studies her technique, her hands, her face. "My name is Kong Dae-ho," he says quietly. His voice is steady despite the pain, educated, the accent barely noticeable. "I work in international shipping and logistics, import-export operations. I was transporting valuable goods when they attacked my vehicle." Maya doesn't look up from her work. "Logistics? Yes. Funny, most logistics professionals don't get ambushed by professional hit squads on highways at 3 in the morning." A pause. She can feel him choosing his words carefully. "The nature of my business sometimes attracts unwanted attention from competitors, industrial espionage, rival companies. It's more common than you'd think in certain sectors." "Right, industrial espionage." She presses gauze against the wound, applies pressure. "With execution-style tactics." "It's a cutthroat industry." She almost laughs. Literally, apparently. She tapes the bandage down, firm, secure, checks the edges to make sure they'll hold. You need to see a real doctor. This is just field medicine. It'll keep you alive, but you need proper stitches, probably antibiotics. Definitely a tetanus shot if you're not current. I'll arrange that tomorrow. Good, because this is as far as my help goes. She strips off the gloves, tosses them in the trash, wipes her hands on a towel. I did what I could, patched you up. Now we go our separate ways. You never saw me. I never saw you. This night never happened. Dae-ho studies her with unsettling focus, not threatening, not predatory, just intensely observant, like he's solving a complex equation and she's the variable he can't quite figure out. You're military, he says. Not a question, a statement, confident, certain. Maya finally meets his eyes. Does it matter? The way you moved back there on the highway, that wasn't self-defense training from a gym. That was military close-quarters combat, textbook execution, the way you just bandaged me. Field medic training, combat medicine, the way you're standing right now, between me and the door, weight on your back foot, hands loose and ready. He pauses. You're not just former military, you're still active, still sharp, still thinking like a soldier. She doesn't confirm it, doesn't deny it, just crosses her arms and stares at him. Listen very carefully, Maya says. Her voice is cold now. All business. Tomorrow morning, you leave. I leave. We go our separate ways. We never met. This night never happened. We never spoke. This conversation doesn't exist. Clear? Dae-ho nods once, slow, deliberate. Understood, Sergeant. Her eyes narrow. How did you— Your dog tags, he says simply. I saw them when you were leaning over me, working on the wound. They slipped out from under your shirt. He gestures to her neck. You still wear them, even on leave, even in civilian clothes. Most soldiers stop once they're off duty, but you haven't. Which tells me something about who you are. Maya's hand moves instinctively to her chest. The metal tags are still there, tucked under her shirt now, hidden again. But he's right, she never takes them off. Can't. They're part of her identity now, part of who she's become. She turns away, heads toward the bathroom. Get some sleep. I'm gone at dawn, and if I were you, I'd be gone even earlier. But as she closes the bathroom door, she catches his reflection in the mirror. He's still watching her, still studying her, like he's memorizing every detail. And something about that look makes her deeply, deeply uneasy. Not because it's threatening, but because it's grateful. And gratitude, in Maya's experience, can be more dangerous than hatred. Maya stands in the tiny bathroom, scrubbing blood from under her nails. The sink is stained. The water pressure is terrible. But she scrubs anyway, methodically, rhythmically, pink water. Then clear, then pink again, then clear. She focuses on her breathing. 4 counts in, hold for 4, 4 counts out, hold for 4. Standard PTSD management technique. Something the VA counselor taught her. Something that works about half the time. Tonight it's not working. You did the right thing. You saved a life. That's what soldiers do. That's what good people do. You didn't ask questions. You just acted. That's enough. That has to be enough. But is it? Outside, the television mutters to itself. Some late-night news program. She's not paying attention, just focusing on the water, the soap, the repetitive motion that keeps her hands busy and her mind from spinning out of control. Then the anchor's voice sharpens, changes tone, the way news anchors do when they're about to tell you something important, something urgent. Breaking news tonight out of the metropolitan area. Authorities are searching for Kang Dae-ho, suspected leader of an international criminal syndicate with operations across 3 countries. He was reportedly ambushed earlier this evening by a rival organization in what police are calling a major escalation of gang violence in the region. Police are asking anyone with information about his whereabouts to come forward immediately. He is considered armed and extremely dangerous. Do not approach. Maya freezes. The water keeps running. Her hands stop moving. She steps out of the bathroom slowly, carefully, like she's walking through a minefield. The photo on screen is grainy but unmistakable. Security camera footage from somewhere. Maybe a restaurant, maybe a hotel, but it's definitely him. Same face, same intelligent eyes, same scar along his jawline that she just bandaged with her own hands. Below the photo, text scrolls, Kang Dae-ho, suspected mafia boss, international criminal operations, armed and dangerous, criminal syndicate, mafia boss, international operations. The words echo in her head like gunfire. She steps out of the bathroom fully, stands in the doorway, just stares at the television screen. Dae-ho sits exactly where she left him, in the torn chair, watching the broadcast. He doesn't look surprised, doesn't look guilty, doesn't even look particularly concerned. Just tired, like this is something he expected, like he's been waiting for this moment since she pulled him off that highway. Maya's hand drifts to the small knife still strapped to her belt. Old habit, different kind of threat, but the instinct is the same. International shipping, she says flatly. Her voice sounds distant, cold, like it's coming from someone else's mouth. Logistics, import-export operations. He turns to face her slowly, carefully, like he's trying not to spook a wild animal. I didn't lie about what I do. I do move goods, money, information, valuable cargo. I just don't move them through legal channels or traditional systems. You're mafia. The word tastes bitter in her mouth. I'm a businessman operating outside traditional legal frameworks, without government protection, without courts to settle disputes, without police to enforce contracts. His voice stays calm, measured, rational. I provide services that the law can't provide or won't provide. I solve problems that exist in the gaps between what's legal and what's necessary. Maya's laugh is sharp, bitter, edged with something that might be hysteria if she let it out. I'm a soldier. Do you understand what that means? I spent 3 years watching what men like you do to entire countries. Cartels in South America, warlords in Africa, criminal networks in the Middle East, bleeding communities dry, destroying families, creating power vacuums that cost thousands of lives. She pulls the knife, doesn't point it at him, just holds it. A reminder that she could, that she's capable. And I just saved one. I just risked my life for a crime boss. Yes, he says simply. You did. She takes a step closer. The knife feels heavy in her hand. Give me one good reason I shouldn't call the police right now. One reason I shouldn't tie you up and hand you over to the authorities and wash my hands of this entire nightmare. Dae-ho doesn't move, doesn't reach for a weapon, doesn't threaten her. His voice actually softens. Because if you wanted to do that, you already would have. You're a soldier. You're trained to assess threats and respond immediately, to make tactical decisions in seconds. He pauses, holds her gaze. You pulled me out of that ambush before you knew my name, before you checked my identification, before you asked what I did for a living. You acted on pure instinct, on your training, on something deeper than logic. Another pause. That was your choice, Sergeant Brooks, and you're not the kind of person who regrets saving a life just because you found out something uncomfortable about who that life belongs to. The use of her full name stops her cold, makes her blood run ice. How do you know your dog tags, full name, rank, serial number, blood type, standard military identification. He gestures vaguely to her neck. I saw everything when you were working on me, when you were trying to keep me alive. Maya stares at him, every muscle in her body tense. Ready to fight or flee. She doesn't know which yet. I'm not threatening you, Daeho says quietly. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to blackmail you. I'm just asking you to walk out that door. Go back to your life, your base, your duties. Forget this happened. Forget you ever saw me. His voice drops even lower. You saved a man's life tonight, a human being who was bleeding to death on a highway. That's all you need to remember. Everything else, what I do, who I am, what I'm involved in, that's not your responsibility. Maya stands there for a long moment, the knife still in her hand, the television still showing his photo. Her mind racing through 1,000 scenarios. Every military instinct screaming at her to call this in, to report it, to do the right thing according to the law. But something else, something deeper, makes her hesitate. He's right. You didn't save a mafia boss. You saved a man who was dying. You didn't know who he was. And even now, even knowing, would you really let him die on that highway if you could go back? The answer, she realizes with horrible clarity, is no, she wouldn't. Finally, she sheaths the knife, grabs her bag from the floor, slings it over her shoulder. I'm leaving. You're on your own from here. Whatever happens next, that's your problem, not mine. She doesn't look back, but as her hand touches the doorknob, he speaks one more time, quiet, sincere. Thank you, Sergeant Brooks, for giving me a chance most people wouldn't, for seeing a human being instead of just a criminal, for acting on your conscience instead of your judgment. Maya pauses, hand on the doorknob, frozen. She doesn't turn around, doesn't acknowledge his words, just says quietly, I didn't give you a chance. I just didn't let you bleed out on a highway in the rain. There's a difference. Then she walks out into the rain. The door closes behind her with a soft click, and Maya stands in the parking lot, rain soaking through her jacket again, wondering if she just made the biggest mistake of her life, wondering if saving one stranger will cost her everything, wondering why, even now, she doesn't regret it. If this story is pulling you in, hit that subscribe button, because what happens next will change everything for both of them. And I promise you won't see it coming. Maya drives fast, not reckless, just purposeful, decisive, trying to put as much distance as possible between herself and that motel, between herself and Kang Dae-ho, between herself and the worst decision she's ever made. The highway stretches ahead, empty, black. Rain still falling but lighter now, more mist than downpour. You did the right thing. You saved a life. Now forget about it. Go back to base. File your leave paperwork. Pretend this never happened. Except forgetting isn't working. Every time she blinks, she sees his face, those dark, intelligent eyes, the way he looked at her, not with fear or calculation, but with something that looked almost like respect, like recognition of something in her that even she doesn't fully understand. She checks the rearview mirror out of habit. Military training. Always know what's behind you. Always scan for threats. Headlights, 2 cars back, matching her speed exactly. Could be nothing, could be coincidence. Highway at 4 in the morning, not much traffic, someone else heading the same direction. Maya eases off the gas, drops from 70 to 60. The car behind her slows too, matches her speed precisely. Okay, not coincidence. She takes the next exit, a split-second decision. No signal, just a hard right onto the off-ramp. The car behind her follows. Definitely not coincidence. Her pulse ticks up. Not panic, just adrenaline, sharpening her focus, making everything clearer. This is what training does, turns fear into fuel. She sees a 24-hour gas station ahead, bright fluorescent lights cutting through the darkness. Security cameras visible on the corners of the building. Perfect. She pulls in fast, parks under the brightest light she can find, right in front of the door where the cameras will catch everything. The trailing car doesn't follow all the way in. It stops at the edge of the parking lot, engine idling, headlights still on, just waiting. Maya counts, 10 seconds, 20, 30. The passenger door opens. A man steps out, tall, broad shoulders, leather jacket despite the rain. Face she recognizes immediately. The one she hit with the rock on the highway. The scarred leader, fresh wound on his temple still visible, even from this distance. He walks toward her, slow, deliberate. No weapon visible, but she knows he's armed. You don't walk like that unless you're carrying. Maya gets out of her car, doesn't run, doesn't hide behind the vehicle, just stands there, visible, recorded by the security cameras. Let him make the first move. "Can I help you?" she calls out, voice steady, calm, giving him a chance to back off. He stops about 10 feet away, close enough to talk, far enough to maintain tactical space. He grins. It's not friendly. "You're the soldier girl who ruined our operation tonight." "I don't know what you're talking about." "Sure you don't." He tilts his head, studies her like she's an interesting specimen. "You're a problem, you know that? You saw our faces, saw his face, interfered in business that wasn't yours. That makes you a witness, and witnesses are liabilities that need to be managed." 2 more men get out of the car. One carries a tire iron, casual, relaxed, like he's done this before. The other has a handgun tucked poorly under his jacket. She can see the bulge even from here. Amateur. Maya assesses quickly, professionally, 3-on-1. Civilian setting. Gas station attendant visible through the window, but probably won't get involved. Security cameras recording, but that won't help if they kill her. No good cover, no backup, no weapons except her knife and her training. Not ideal, but she's worked with worse odds. "I didn't see anything worth remembering," she says evenly, giving them an out, giving herself time to plan. "I helped an injured man on the highway, then I left, that's all. No faces, no details, nothing that could identify anyone." The scarred man laughs. It's not a pleasant sound. "Yeah, well, here's the thing. We can't take that risk. We can't trust that you're telling the truth. We can't trust that you won't remember something later, can't trust that you won't go to the police. He shrugs. Nothing personal, just business. You understand? I really don't. You will. He lunges, fast. Faster than she expected from someone his size. But Maya's faster. She sidesteps, grabs his extended wrist, uses his momentum against him, twists hard. Classic joint lock. He yells in pain, drops to his knees on the wet pavement. The second man swings the tire iron. Wide arc, telegraphed. Maya ducks under it, comes up inside his guard. Elbows strike to the floating ribs, hard, precise. All her weight behind it. He staggers back, gasping, clutching his side. The third man pulls his gun. That's when another car screeches into the parking lot. Black, sleek, expensive looking, no license plates visible. Windows tinted, it moves fast, aggressive, positions itself between Maya and the attackers. The driver's door flies open. A man steps out, not Daeho, but someone who clearly works for him. Older, maybe 50, professional suit despite the hour, salt and pepper hair, cold, calculating eyes that have seen too much to be surprised by anything. He raises his own weapon, doesn't point it at anyone, just holds it, visible. A clear message, fires once into the air. The crack cuts through everything, sharp, final, unmistakable. Walk away, the suited man says. His voice is calm, cold, emotionless, like he's discussing the weather. Right now, or the next one goes through something vital. And before you think about making this a fight, I have 3 more vehicles, 2 blocks away. They'll be here in 90 seconds. You'll be dead in 30. The 3 attackers look at each other, calculating odds, weighing options. Then they scatter, pile back into their car, tires screaming, gone in seconds. The parking lot falls silent, just rain and fluorescent lights and the hum of the gas station's refrigerators through the window. Maya stands there, breathing hard, fists still clenched, adrenaline still flooding her system. The suited man lowers his weapon, doesn't holster it, just holds it loosely at his side, non-threatening but ready. He gestures to the black car with his free hand. Get in, Sergeant Brooks, please. I don't. You're not safe out here. Those men will regroup, come back with more people, better weapons, different tactics. His voice is matter-of-fact, clinical. You won an engagement, but you haven't won the war, and they won't stop until they've eliminated the threat you represent. I can handle, with respect, ma'am, you just proved you can handle 3 unprepared men in a lit public space with security cameras running. Very impressive, truly. He pauses, but there are 30 more where they came from, and next time they'll be prepared. Next time they'll bring rifles. Next time it won't be in a place with cameras and witnesses. Maya wants to argue, wants to tell him she's a combat veteran, that she's survived worse, that she doesn't need protection from a crime boss's employees. But 3 men just tried to kill her in a gas station parking lot, and this stranger, this criminal, just saved her life. The suited man opens the back door of the black car. The interior light reveals Daeho sitting in the back seat, bandage still visible under a fresh shirt. His shoulder held carefully, but his eyes are alert, sharp, watching her with that same unsettling intensity. I thought you left, Maya says. Her voice sounds hollow, distant. I did, Daeho replies, but my people didn't. I told them to keep an eye on you, make sure you got out of the city safely. He pauses. They called me when the ambush started. You've been following me. I've been protecting you. There's a difference. She wants to be angry, wants to accuse him of stalking, of manipulation, of something, but he just saved her life, again. Maya gets in the car, the door closes, the locks engage with a soft click, and as they pull out of the parking lot, she watches the gas station disappear in the rearview mirror. Watches her normal life, her safe life, her law-abiding life disappear with it, and wonders when exactly she crossed the line from soldier to something else entirely. The penthouse is nothing like the motel, nothing like anywhere Maya has ever been. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking a glittering cityscape that stretches to the horizon. Minimalist furniture that probably costs more than her annual military salary. Art on the walls that looks original, not prints. Everything clean, controlled, expensive, intentional. A fortress disguised as luxury. Maya stands in the center of the living room, arms crossed, taking it all in, committing details to memory, exit points, security weaknesses, anything that might matter later. "This is your safe house?" she asks. Her voice drips with skepticism. Daeho pours 2 glasses of water from a crystal pitcher on the bar, moves carefully because of his shoulder, hands her one. "It's one of them, the most secure. Cameras on every floor covering every angle. Armed guards in the lobby with biometric identification. Elevator requires a key card and fingerprint scan. No one gets up here without multiple layers of clearance." "It's a fortress." "Exactly." He gestures down a hallway. "Guest room is second door on the left. There are clean clothes in the closet, different sizes, toiletries in the bathroom, everything you might need. Door has a lock from the inside. You control who comes in." "I'm not staying here." "You are, at least for tonight." He sits carefully on the couch, winces slightly, the wound still bothering him. "Those men have your license plate number. They've probably already run it. Found your name, your address, your base assignment, every detail of your life. They won't stop until you're eliminated as a threat. Then I go to the police, file a report, get protective custody." "And tell them what exactly?" Daeho's voice is patient, understanding, like he's explaining something to a student. "That you interfered in a gang ambush? That you transported a wanted criminal across state lines? That you provided medical aid to someone on the FBI's most wanted list? That you're now targeted by an organized crime syndicate because you witnessed a murder attempt?" He pauses, lets that sink in. "How do you think that conversation goes? How do you think your commanding officer reacts when military police show up at your base, asking questions about why you're involved in a gang war?" Maya's jaw tightens, her hands clench into fists. Because he's right. God help her, he's absolutely right. "I don't hide behind criminals," she says, but even to her own ears, it sounds weak, desperate. "No, you think strategically. You assess situations and make tactical decisions based on available intelligence and probable outcomes." His voice softens. "Right now, right at this moment, the smart strategy is staying alive long enough to plan your next move, to figure out a solution that doesn't end with you dead or dishonorably discharged." He meets her eyes. "I'm offering you that time, that space, that protection." She wants to argue, wants to tell him to go to hell, wants to walk out that door and never look back. but 3 men just tried to kill her, and he's the only reason they failed. And he's right about what happens if she goes to the police. She's trapped, completely, utterly trapped. "One night," she says finally, through gritted teeth. "Then I'm gone. Then we figure out a permanent solution that doesn't involve me hiding in a crime boss's penthouse." Fair enough. Long silence. The city hums beyond the windows. Distant sirens, car horns, the soundtrack of normal life happening somewhere far below them. Then Dae-ho leans forward slightly, careful of his shoulder. "I have a proposal, a way out of this situation that benefits both of us. I'm not interested in, stay 3 days, help me analyze their tactics, their methods, their probable next moves." He speaks quickly, efficiently. "You're military. You have training I don't have. You understand combat operations, defensive positioning, ambush patterns, psychological warfare. You think like a strategist, like a soldier. I need that perspective. And in return, I erase your trail completely. Security footage from the highway, deleted. Motel registration, scrubbed. Witness reports, managed. Your license plate, removed from their database." He pauses. "You walk away clean. No investigation, no record, no target on your back. You go back to your base and your life like none of this ever happened." Maya stares at him, processing. "You want me to help a mafia boss fight a gang war? I want us both to survive the next 72 hours. That's all. 3 days, tactical consultation only. You're not involved in operations. You're not breaking any laws. You're just looking at intelligence and providing analysis based on your training and experience." He meets her eyes. "This is the only way both of us get what we need." Her hands clench. She hates this, hates him for being logical and reasonable, hates herself for even considering it, hates that he's right about the trap she's in. But what choice does she have? Really? Finally, 3 days, I analyze their methods and provide tactical assessment. You clear my name and my record. Then we never see each other again, ever. This ends in 72 hours. Agreed. He extends his hand across the space between them. She looks at it, really looks at it. The hand of a criminal, a man who operates outside every law she swore to uphold. A man who represents everything she's spent 3 years fighting against. But also the man who just saved your life, twice. Slowly she reaches out, shakes. His grip is firm, warm, professional. He doesn't hold on longer than necessary, doesn't try to make it mean more than it does. When he lets go, something in the room has shifted. They're not enemies anymore, not friends. Not even close to friends, but not enemies. Just 2 people trapped in an impossible situation, trying to survive long enough to find a way out. "The guest room has everything you need," Dae-ho says, standing carefully, "including your privacy and your autonomy. I won't bother you unless you want to be bothered. I'm keeping my knife. I'd expect nothing less, Sergeant." She walks to the hallway, stops at the guest room door, hand on the knob. "Why did your people follow me?" she asks without turning around. "Because I told them to. Because you saved my life and I owed you a debt. Because I knew those men would come after you and you deserved protection even if you didn't want it." He pauses. "They called me when the ambush started. You could have let me die, would have solved your witness problem permanently." "Yes, I could have." His voice is quiet, sincere. "But you saved me first, without knowing who I was, without asking for anything in return, without calculating whether I deserved it. Another pause. I don't forget debts like that, ever. It's not who I am. Maya doesn't respond, doesn't know what to say to that. She just enters the guest room and locks the door behind her. The room is beautiful. Clean white sheets, soft lighting, comfortable furniture. Everything expensive and tasteful and comfortable. But she doesn't sleep. She sits on the edge of the bed, dog tags in her hand, turning them over and over, wondering how a decorated soldier ends up making deals with crime bosses, wondering when exactly she crossed the line from hero to accomplice, wondering if there's any way back. The next 3 days blur together. Maya spends her mornings in what Dae-ho calls the operations room. Maps spread across tables, computer screens showing surveillance footage, files on rival organizations stacked in precise piles. She watches, analyzes, makes tactical notes. And she hates how easily she slips back into the mindset. Target acquisition, risk assessment, strategic positioning. This isn't military intelligence, this is crime. But the methodology is identical. On the second day, she follows Dae-ho to see what he actually does. They drive to an immigrant neighborhood, bustling streets, family-owned shops, people walking home from work. Dae-ho stops at a small grocery, goes inside. Maya watches through the window, an elderly woman arguing with him, gesturing frantically. He listens patiently, then pulls out an envelope of cash. The woman's expression softens. She bows slightly, takes it. Protection payment? Maya asks when he returns. Rent assistance, Dae-ho corrects. Her landlord's illegally tripling rent to force her out. I made sure he reconsidered his approach. By threatening him. By negotiating a fair resolution. He starts the engine. The police won't help her. She's undocumented. No legal recourse. So I intervene. Later, she watches him settle a property dispute between 2 business owners. No violence, just firm negotiation, almost diplomatic. Maybe he's not entirely corrupt, she thinks. But that night, everything changes. She's reviewing surveillance footage when she hears Dae-ho on the phone. Speaking rapidly, voice cold, hard. I don't care about his excuses. He stole from my shipment. Send a message, not permanent, just memorable enough that no one else tries it. Maya's stomach turns, but he's still ordering violence, still a criminal. The contradiction sits in her chest like concrete. On the 3rd night, the situation explodes. We have a problem, Dae-ho says, pulling up an image on screen. The rival gang knows you're here. The photo shows her car, her face clearly visible. They pulled traffic camera footage from the highway, he explains. Traced your plates, found out you're military. He looks at her. Now they're spreading rumors that I'm working with American armed forces, using that to turn other organizations against me. Maya's blood runs cold. I'm making this worse. You're the excuse they're using, different thing. What do they want? Me dead. You as leverage to make that happen. That night, Dae-ho receives a call. The rival gang is hitting one of his operations at the container docks. I have to respond, he says. You stay here where it's secure. If they're using me as bait, I should be there. Absolutely not. You're not. I'm a combat veteran. I've run operations in active war zones. Maya stands. You want this to end? Let me help. He studies her for a long moment, then nods. Stay close, stay behind cover. If I tell you to run, you run. The docks smell like salt and diesel fuel. Maya crouches on a metal catwalk overlooking rows of shipping containers. Below, Daeho's men move efficiently, loading trucks. This is his world, and I'm standing in the middle of it, then shouting, tires screeching, headlights flood the yard, 3 vehicles, doors slamming, armed men pouring out. Contact! Daeho yells. Get down! Gunfire erupts. Maya drops into a crouch. Her training kicks in instantly. She scans angles, counts shooters, identifies cover points and escape routes. They're boxing us in, she calls over the chaos. Both exits blocked. Daeho's beside her now, weapon drawn. Can you handle a gun? I'm a soldier, hand me one. He passes her a spare pistol. She checks the magazine automatically. Full. Good weight. This is wrong. This is so wrong. But there's no time to process it. A man appears at the catwalk's end. Maya fires once. Leg shot. He goes down. Alive. Neutralized. More gunfire below. Organized chaos spreading through the dock. Then she sees him, the scarred leader from the highway, standing atop a container with a megaphone. Kang Dae-ho, he shouts. You think hiding an American soldier will protect you? She's the reason this war escalated. One bullet ends both problems. Maya's heart stops. He's right. I'm the reason this got worse. She looks at Dae-ho. He's already moving. Stay down, he orders. Where are you? But he's gone, running along the catwalk, towards something she didn't see. A sniper, perched on the far container, rifle scope gleaming, aimed at her position. Dae-ho doesn't hesitate. He throws himself between them. The shot cracks through the air. Dae-ho stumbles, catches the railing. Blood blooms across his shoulder, the same shoulder she bandaged 3 nights ago. Maya's world stops. She moves without thinking, grabs his arm, drags him behind cover, presses her hand against the wound, blood warm and sticky between her fingers. Are you insane? She hisses. Why would you? Because. His voice is strained, but his eyes are clear, focused. You didn't ask for any of this. You saved me because it was right. You don't owe me anything. He winces. And I'm not letting you die for a situation you didn't create. Maya stares at him, at the blood, at the way he's still trying to shield her. You're the enemy, she whispers. He smiles, faint, almost tender. Maybe, but you're the only person who saved me without asking who I was first, without wanting something in return. His voice drops. That's worth bleeding for. And in that moment, something inside her breaks open, not shattering, just opening. Criminals aren't supposed to be noble. They're not supposed to take bullets for strangers. But he just did. And she doesn't know what to do with that truth. 5 days after the docks, the rival gang calls for a meeting. It's a trap, Maya says flatly. She's leaning over blueprints of an abandoned warehouse, marking danger zones in red. Dae-ho nods, his shoulders bandaged, arm mobile but moving carefully. I know. Then why consider it? Because if I don't show, they'll keep hunting. You, me, everyone associated with me. He looks at her. This ends one way or another. Tonight. Maya studies the warehouse layout. Multiple entry points, high ceilings, blind spots everywhere. This is a kill zone, she says. They'll position snipers here and here. She marks X's. Ambush teams in these buildings. Exits blocked. You walk in, you don't walk out alive. What do you recommend? She looks up. Let me plan this operation. Dae-ho raises an eyebrow. You? I've run urban combat operations in worse terrain. against entrenched enemies who knew the ground better than we did. She straightens. You want to survive? You follow my plan. A pause. Then, what do you need? Maya pulls the blueprint closer. First, we don't use the front entrance. There's a service tunnel here. Runs from the harbor to the warehouse basement. Old smuggler's route. Probably hasn't been used in years. She traces it with her finger. We come up through there, inside their perimeter, before they know we're there. They'll have the main floor covered, which is why we send a decoy to the front, make them commit to positions expecting you to walk through that door. She marks tactical positions. Your people here, bro. And one here saw samam shuam, hide, waiting. When they reveal themselves for the ambush, we flip the trap on them. Classic bait and switch. Classic winning strategy. She meets his eyes. But I have conditions. No executions, no killing unless it's immediate self-defense. And when this is over, survivors go to the police. Those are my terms. Her voice is steel. You want my help? You do this my way, or I walk right now and you face them alone. Daeho studies her for a long moment, then, agreed, your rules. The warehouse is dark, silent, too silent. Daeho enters through the front, alone, hands visible, playing his role perfectly. The rival leader emerges from behind concrete pillars, grinning like he's already won. Smart man, came alone like we asked. I came to negotiate terms. Sure you did. Men step out from shadows. 6, 8, 10, all armed. The leader laughs. You really thought I wanted peace? You're finished, Kang, and that American soldier will hunt her down next. That's when Maya's voice cuts through the darkness from above. You already found me. She steps into view on the upper catwalk, rifle raised, calm, professional. The leader spins. What? Surprise, Maya says. You're surrounded. On cue, Daeho's people emerge from positions Maya scouted, the service tunnel exit, side doors, upper windows. Not overwhelming numbers, just enough for tactical advantage. You wanted a war, Maya calls down. Now you're fighting someone who actually knows how. The leader snarls, raises his weapon toward her. Maya fires first, disarming shot. The gun flies from his hand, clatters across concrete. Controlled chaos erupts, but it's choreographed, planned, every move calculated. Maya descends, neutralizing 2 men with precision strikes, joint locks, pressure points, military combatives. Non-lethal, effective. Daeho's people secure exits. The rival gang panics, breaks formation. The leader tries to run. Maya blocks his path. You used me to escalate this war, she says quietly. Now I'm ending it. He swings at her. She dodges, counters with a strike to his solar plexus. He doubles over. She sweeps his legs. He hits the ground. Hard. She doesn't continue, just stands over him. Stay down. When the dust settles, the rival gang is on their knees, disarmed, defeated, alive. Daeho approaches, weapons still in hand. We could finish this permanently, right now. No witnesses, no future threats. Maya looks at him. Or you let the authorities do their job. They'll be back on the street in a year. Maybe, but if you execute them tonight, you prove you're exactly what everyone thinks you are. She pauses. If you let the law handle it, maybe I'll believe I saved the right person that night on the highway. Daeho stares at her. The warehouse echoes with heavy breathing and distant sirens. Then slowly he lowers his weapon. Call it in, he tells his people, voice firm, final. One hesitates. Boss, are you? Make the call. Anonymous tip. These men, their weapons, their crimes. Let the system handle it. The man nods, pulls out a phone. Maya exhales. Didn't realize she'd been holding her breath. Dae-ho looks at her. Satisfied? It's a start. The sirens grow louder, and for the first time in days, Maya feels like she can breathe. 3 weeks later, Maya sits in a small cafe near the base, coffee steaming, duffel bag at her feet. Dog tags hanging outside her shirt now, no longer hidden. A statement of who she is. The TV above the counter plays the news. Multiple arrests in organized crime sweep. Anonymous tip led authorities to dismantle several operations. Kang Dae-ho's current whereabouts remain unknown, though sources suggest cooperation with federal investigators in exchange for reduced scrutiny. Maya doesn't smile, but something in her chest loosens. He kept his word. Outside, a black car pulls up. No plates, tinted windows. She doesn't look, doesn't need to. A moment later, Dae-ho slides into the seat across from her. Dressed simply, jeans, dark jacket, almost civilian. The sling is gone. He moves easier now. You leave today? 1 hour. Back to active duty. Back to what I understand. She picks up her coffee. What about you? I'm still here, still running operations. He glances at the TV. But cleaner, quieter. I've turned over information on 3 major trafficking operations to federal authorities in the last 2 weeks. Things I was never comfortable with, but couldn't stop alone. You're cooperating with law enforcement. I'm adapting, learning that choosing accountability doesn't mean weakness. He meets her eyes. You showed me there's more than one way to maintain control. That power means responsibility for how it's used. Maya studies him. I still don't approve of what you do. I know. You're still a criminal. I am. He doesn't deny it, doesn't make excuses. But I'm trying to be better, the kind who remembers that every choice has consequences, that people aren't just variables in an equation. Long silence. The cafe hums around them, normal people, normal lives. No one knows who they are or what they survived together. Dae-ho pulls something from his pocket, a small card, just a phone number in neat handwriting. If you ever need to disappear, he says quietly, even for 1 night, even if it's just to talk to someone who understands what it's like to carry impossible weight. He slides it across the table. Call, no strings attached, no debts created, just call. Maya looks at the card, then at him. Why would I? Maybe you won't, but knowing you can, he pauses. That matters to me. She picks up the card, studies the number, then tucks it carefully into her pocket. I saved you because that's what soldiers do, she says. And how you live from here, how you honor that second chance, that's your responsibility, Kang Dae-ho. The intercom crackles. Final boarding for Flight 447 to Fort Bragg. Maya stands, picks up her duffel. Dae-ho stands too. They face each other. Will I see you again? He asks. I don't know. Her voice is honest. Maybe, if life's kinder than I think it is. Or crueler. That too. She extends her hand. Professional, final, he takes it. But instead of shaking, he holds it for a moment. His grip warm, steady, grateful. Thank you, he says, for seeing something in me worth saving. Thank you for proving I wasn't wrong to try. She lets go, turns, walks towards security. She doesn't look back, but she can feel him watching. And part of her, a small, dangerous part, wants to turn around. She doesn't. She keeps walking toward her gate, toward her life, toward the war that's still waiting. But her hand stays in her pocket, fingers wrapped around the card. Some people come into your life to break you, others come to save you. And some come to do both. Maya saved a stranger on a dark highway. She didn't know he was dangerous, didn't know saving him would pull her into a war she never signed up for. But she also didn't know he'd take a bullet for her, or that he'd change his path because she demanded better. Maybe that's what true connection is. Not fixing someone, not forgiving them, just believing they can be better. And giving them one chance to prove it. The plane lifts into the night sky. Below, the city glimmers, beautiful and brutal all at once. Somewhere down there, Kang Dae-ho stands at a window, watching the darkness, thinking about a soldier who saved him twice, once from his enemies and once from becoming a monster. And somewhere above, Maya Brooks clutches a card in her pocket, wondering if saving someone the world called enemy was the most inspirational act of courage she's ever shown. Because sometimes the people we're not supposed to care about teach us what caring really means. Sometimes love isn't about romance or passion. It's about respect, reciprocity, vulnerability, choice, and commitment to believing someone can become who they're meant to be. And sometimes, just sometimes, the most motivational thing you can do is refuse to give up on someone the world already has. Maya touches her dog tags, looks out at the darkness. One former enemy remains in the city below. Another battlefield awaits ahead, but for the first time in months, she's not afraid of either. Because courage isn't about fighting. It's about choosing who deserves a second chance, even if they're the last person you expected, even if the world calls it wrong, even if it's just one stranger on a dark highway who reminded you what honor truly means. In a world divided by right and wrong, can two people find something real in the space between? If this story moved you, if it made you think about courage, redemption, and the power of believing in second chances, please hit that like button, subscribe for more heartfelt romance stories that restore your faith in humanity, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever helped someone others had given up on? Have you ever been that person who needed someone to believe in you? Tell us your story. Your words matter. Their journey matters, and so does yours. Thank you for spending this time with Maya and Dae-ho. May you always have the courage to save the right stranger.